Starting the next session. I will be the chair of this session. My name is Jelena. I'm from University of Latvia. The session is 60 minutes long and we have 3 talks on schedule that gives us on average 20 minutes per talk on average. And if you do not mind, I'm ready to present our first speaker. The first speaker is here. The first speaker is Boris from University of Maribor. And everybody knows him. And he is going to give a talk on creation, code and generation. So please, Boris, the floor is yours.
Also Vincentas know me.
Still, now we're starting outside.
Okay, I don't want to explain everything in detail because we don't have enough time. But my idea is just to make some thinking about the time which we will in front of us, the time they will change a lot of the area of education. So I somehow like to repeat the Sartre's thought. Sartre's one that existential question cannot be answered once and for all. Philosophical question by definition are the question that our generation must constantly ask themselves, as this fosters a vivid sense of being alive in us. And I think the existentialism start at the same time, approximately the same chaotic time in which we are now. They have the physical enemy, they have the ideological enemy, and probably we living in the same time. So it's really very useful to learn from the previous idea. It's Paolo go a little bit more in the past, but also in the newest past we can learn a lot. So you mentioned that 3 things is important to point out. I will point only 2. You know, it's easier to understand. Yes, you know, 3 is complicated. You can decide. 2 is yes, no. You know, it's really easy to remember. So my first thesis, our first thesis, education thesis, is that the school is school for life, and the second, we must all agree that life, that our society changing very faster and faster in last period, and they are changing more and more drastically. So we can learn from this that we don't have time to rethink, we don't have time to to set maybe or not, but it's the time to do something. So, if we talking about that school is school for the real life, then we must put also another question. What mean real life today? Is it our physical real life? Is it, we start with Vincentas, I don't know, 20 years ago, in the area of augmented reality, or is it virtual reality? What's real? Because reality is today very hard to understand because it's so many things are all around us. And
exactly.
The fact is also that school today loses the rule of knowledge transmitter, because in the previous time the teacher are someone who transfer knowledge from one generation to another generation and so on. Man is losing the role of storage knowledge, because everyone we have, all our knowledge is my phone, I don't need any I don't need any knowledge more. It's not necessary to learn whatever and so on. And of course, technology is losing the role of motivator, as we are, I don't know, 10 years ago, if you put the computer in the class, wow, everyone starts doing. And the question is also what we are doing with the technology. One of my previous lectures connected with the control. So my opinion is that we are more and more losing control about everything, because if you have all knowledge in the phone, and if we have some algorithm which run in this phone, they select information for us specially, and that's personalization which we would like to develop in the class. Our phone personalizes information for us, you know, and that's the question of control. And as I said, also school education undergoing drastic changes. At least I will point only two. Yes, but I will talk about only first one. So, because technology possibilities allow us to take completely different approaches, you know, that our way of thinking, our way of presentation are changing really hardly, and strategies and opportunities for learning and teaching, as the colleague from Greece said. So you can use Scratch Junior for the small kids. You can learn about coding without computer, for example. And the second truth, the second thesis is the students are different. The students are entirely different. I name in this net or web generation, which mean internet 1.0 starting somehow in the end of the previous millennium in 1989, and today we are entering in the internet 4.0. So all development are happened, let's say, in these 30 years. So if we're talking about the technological possibilities, I will talk only about these. I don't analyze how kids changing, how school changing. The colleague explained us very well everything about the social differences and the social development and social research and so on. I will stay in this area of technology, technological possibilities or technological fact. We must point out that today we don't have one word, we have two totally different words. We have our physical world, but we have also some kind of cyber world, because artificial intelligence living in somewhere else, you know, in some different, some another world. They can enter in our world, but we can't enter in cyber world, because in this cyber world happened a lot of things which we know or which we don't know. As after 222, we established that it is some artificial intelligence. They develop very drastically, very fast. But this artificial intelligence don't start at 22, they start, I don't know, I remember we developed some artificial intelligence in the factory where we using this artificial intelligence for optimizing the process of constructing, designing things, calculating better and faster things, which we saw in the industry that, you know, to develop some new car. In the previous time we need, I don't know, 3-4 years. Today, you know, they change twice per year something. But as I said, we must also somehow take into account that we are not no more only intelligent, I name entity in this space, you know. We must take into account that also some artificial intelligence exists, some e-intelligent or whatever they develop, they connect all our knowledge, you know. The human can take in the head only the knowledge, let's say, for one generation, but artificial intelligence know everything from the early beginning to today. So, usually I don't like to read, but these few words that I put also in my presentation, in my paperwork, it's for me very thoughtful. It's somehow connected with Paulus space-time. It's connected with this where we are living, because what's the today, what's yesterday, and what will be. So we are all time travelers, experiencing constant changes and joining new experience. And you know, the experience is the highest level of knowledge that we have, human, because experience gives us opportunity that do also some without big analysis before. As Kahneman said, we have two systems in our head. One system is connected with the intuition, which is experience, which many times we deciding momently in some situation, good or bad. But if we start statistical calculation and so on, we establish that this decision in most cases are not good, or it's wrong. But depending how many experience do we have, and if we're talking about the school, if we're talking about the student, more or less the student don't have a lot of experience. So they functioning mainly in this fast way of thinking. As we do this, countless connections between nerve cells in our brain are recalibrated and accommodated this experience. It is if we are resembling ourselves every day. Tomorrow we will be smarter than we are yesterday and also today. We are maintaining a mental construct of ourselves in physical time. The glue that holds together our core identity is our memories. Memories is really important. If we don't have the memories, you know, we all know what happened with dementia people and so on and so on. It's, you know, you are somehow put on the level of
Plant.
On the level of plant. On the level of plant. No.
Real assistance.
Yes. Yeah, you know, I have my own Microsoft Office Copilot with. You just ask and you get the answer. And our travel are not limited in the physical time. As I said, we also experience mental time travel because we visit the past through our memories. We can remember what happened on this, remember we can look what will be. and then traveling to the future by imagine what tomorrow and the following years could bring, could be. And that's really important. That is what is human-like, let's say. The expert discussing if artificial intelligence is possible to have all this, but okay, that's another story. When we do this, we think of ourselves as we are now, remember who we once were, and imagine what we will like. That's it's very important thing when we're talking about education. Probably more or less we all know that we have the traditional pedagogy, that we have the digital pedagogy, which is somehow education 4.0, and after 22 to 25, these education are drastically changing. Two problems we have: the first is corona, the second is artificial. Only two things. Vincentas, you don't listen to me. Why are you talking? So,
new problem.
Yeah, a new kind of problem needs new method of solution, and we must change. I'm not too old to catch something in the way of thinking. So, new solution, we are all talking, I don't want about all these, we're talking about curiosity, we're talking about motivation, researching, solving, optimization, developing products, knowledge, skills, competencies, solution. So we somehow all these things connected with the competencies somehow, because competencies is connected with the knowledge, with the skills, with the relation, like we all know, with the Bloom philosophy, from cognitive to affective to psychomotorical level, all is in these competencies. And of course we are talking about society 5.0, which mean, they said, that will be the super smart society. That's idea, that's general idea. But if we a little bit analyze this, is it possible that we became from, I don't know, from 20th century to 21 in 10, 20 years, immediately super smart? Probably not. If we connect computer power, the power of thinking, calculating, and we are put this in the time. We saw that yes, computer power and so on, really developed drastically in these, let's say, 40 years or whatever. But we know, are we so different of our parents, or are these kids so
Well, you are an optimist.
Yeah. I'm also the pessimist, you know. But yes, more or less we are the same level of intelligence, because psychologically we always said plus minus 7 ideas or 6 ideas we can develop. Computer scientists said, okay, our fast memory is, I don't know, 126, 28 bytes, so, you know, it's nothing if we compare with the computer. So if we somehow connect human and computer, yes, okay, we are somehow reach in information society, which will be pedagogical, I don't know, digital pedagogy and so on in the area. Yes, if we add artificial intelligence, we can start, or we can be a super smart society. But who will be super smart in this society? That's the question, is this still the human society, or is this some, let's say, some other society? Oh, okay. As I said, two problems which drastically, must I stop? Okay, the corona happened, which we all know what happened. You know, we must somehow develop some different kind how to put the knowledge to the student. Of course, we more or less using technological possibilities, and then 22 chat come, 3.5 chat, everyone, wow, look, artificial intelligence is here and so on. We start talking about generative artificial intelligence. We can start talking about the large language model like ChatGPT, Lambda, or whatever. We can start also talking about personalization of these. We start talking about the small language model which could be connected. But if we're using chat, who have control? Do we have control over own knowledge, or someone else take what's true and what's not, what's lie, what is propaganda and so on? So the teacher education also are facing totally new problem. The teacher no longer encounters technology only as a tool, you know, which is the philosophy of digital pedagogy. We have, I don't know, such technology, another technology, projector, intelligent table, and so on and so on. But the teacher manage everything. They have control. But we must somehow change this relation. As I said, we are no more the only one intelligent in our common universe, in our physical and digital world, in our physical world and so if we're talking about the generative pedagogy, generativism, they develop somehow 24, they start intensively develop in 24, somehow 23. Today we are quite far in this, but you know, it's still the problem. And if you remember from the beginning, the word is not one, there are two words, and intelligent is no longer our human intelligence. There are at least two diametral artificial intelligence, you know, and between these two there exist a lot of different intelligence. Only one, Vincentas,
Three.
not three. Yeah, and the question is, will be artificial intelligence our teacher?
Yes.
Okay, I said no. I said no, but it could be, or it must be some helper, you know. If the no, okay.
Because you said only one.
If the kids learn, they can use different kind of robots. They can use different kind of and help. If we set the
Thanks.
if we said we must put the student in active role, project learning, problem learning. Problem learning. Yes, okay, 3 students and 1 chat. and we can discuss, because chat that can answer in any question that we can put. Yes, we discussing that's hallucinating and so on, but they learn from whom? They learn from us. We also hallucinating when we don't have the answer. We just put some answer. So, yes, I said, and probably will be said who is not so optimistic. So, with this I will finish, and I will answer in the first question. Yes or no artificial intelligence. And we have very well-known Kibler-Ross model. At the beginning, we are all surprised. No, it's not possible. They don't exist. That's fake and so on. Then we deny. Then we are frustrated. What can we do now? We must learn. No, I don't want to learn anything. And then we are in the depression. And after this, they must, we are on the bottom. They must somehow find solution, because they don't disappear. It will be, they're living with us. Like, we learn from the previous time. That's my short presentation. Then we must make experiment, then we must decide, and at the end, we will be necessary to integrate all this in some way. Okay, and that's everything from my side. Thank you. Now I can go back.
And in the second half we have many speakers. Are you all presenting one? Three presenters.
No, three authors, two presenters.
Finally, Holy Trinity.
Yeah, we followed your set of three.
We have three presenters from the nicest University of Latvia. All my colleagues, Rita, Daiga and Sandra, will present about the biology and developing the methodological materials for biology.
Yeah. So, from existential questions, philosophy and AI, we go back to basics, still to school and teachers who are working with today's children. And just to give some background information why we took this topic for research was that starting with 2016, Latvia introduced the new education reform, competence-based education. There was a very large project which ended in a school reform under the title School 2030, and basically it also influenced the change of the national standard, and you might read because of the time. So competence-based education became like a buzzword, and in all subjects it was being introduced, and now 2023 it was the final grades in which this reform was introduced. So already 2 years have passed since full introduction, but whenever we met with the biology teachers through Latvian Association of Biology Teachers, we heard some dissatisfaction. Yeah, you would say teachers are always dissatisfied with something, but it seems that at this point there is certainly reason to be dissatisfied. If we look at Latvia's situation and the number of lessons for biology, chemistry and physics, we see that biology gets only 105 hours, chemistry 210, and physics 245. And you see the ratio against the biology. In Finland, it's biology 2, ratio. In Estonia, 3. In Lithuania, they have everything equal, 1-1-1. So certainly for the secondary education optimal level, 105 hours, it's absolutely short period. Besides, even considering that number of hours, there still is the lack of teaching materials and different resources, and also the lack of support for the teachers, because similarly, like one of the speakers already said, I think it was Crete, concerning AI and preschool education, the situation in Latvia was actually similar. So from the top came the school reform with the requirements, what should be done, what the learning outcomes are. At the bottom, the teachers were not retrained, or the teachers were not provided the necessary support how to introduce this competence-based education, because the most or the greatest change was that you teach for life, you teach skills that our learners will need when they get into real life, not just for knowledge repetition or accumulation of knowledge. And so that actually made us think, okay, let's see what might be the reality. Like, okay, teachers are dissatisfied with the new reform, but maybe actually the teachers are at fault. Everything is going fine. So therefore, the research questions were to see to what extent the new reform satisfies the requirements of the national standard. Then what are the teachers' opinion, really, through survey to find it out, and also then the methodological set of materials. And of course we started, so the whole project goes into 5 stages, but we will concentrate today only on those first 3 stages, mapping of outcomes, teacher survey, and the development of methodological tool. And Daiga will talk about mapping.
Okay. And as we have a standard and curricula, so the first step was mapping these learning outcomes, and we just did it like in qualitative way, and our conclusion was that only 24% are fully covered from standard in curriculum, and other ones some were lost in this way. And then 41% was partly covered, and 35% from standard learning outcomes was not included in this curriculum, which was, we had only one curriculum made in this project, and give it to teachers as, so you can teach from this, and then everything will be okay. And of course then we understand why teachers are not angry, are angry because they didn't read standard. They have one document, they open it and work. And feel bad because there are not a lot of things which were common previously, and I think they are important things why they are not included. So therefore the basic on all this development of materials was connect them closely with these learning outcomes.
Yeah, and so to be able to do that, we had to do the survey of the teacher to find out, first of all, the profile of our respondents, and then the survey had 2 parts. First, 10 closed-ended Likert scale questions, focusing on aim of the program or curriculum, outcomes to be achieved, number of lessons, topics, and especially the arrangement or sequence of the topics and subtopics. And the other part, 4 open-ended questions on the real content and learning topics and suggestions how to solve them. Yeah, we use snowball or grid sampling method to involve respondents, and type of school, basically secondary school and gymnasium. Location, mainly Riga, which is the capital. Age, yeah, you see the whole spectrum of the teacher's age, but no secret, majority is already very experienced teachers. Yeah, with
That's very polite.
okay, with lots of experience. Yeah, and if we look at those first 4 questions that seem to be important at this time, the number of lessons, whether it's sufficient, and the logical sequence, and whether there is sufficient number of lessons to teach inquiry skills, and the topics covered. Then you see that actually there is a lot open for the discussion. Yeah, the number of those who agree and completely agree is relatively small. And probably this might be one of the best quotes from one of the teachers on this Scuola 2030 new curriculum. And we can understand that this is an experienced teacher, so she knows how to deal with the content. Yeah, so the content does not surprise me, but the number of lessons does. Yeah, so how to cover all the things necessary for the teaching biology. Yeah, and if we look at average responses, we can see that actually Riga city and city school teachers have been more critical as to whether goals for developing science literacy have been achieved, and also about meeting the educational standards. Yeah, so also the older teachers are also more critical about it. Yeah, and gymnasia teachers consider that there is not enough hours to cover the topics, but most importantly, not enough hours to teach inquiry skills, which is basic part of biology, and also almost next to impossible to do the field work, project work, if there is only 1 lesson per week. However, the curriculum actually envisages that schools might decide either to have 1 lesson per week for all 3 years, or 2 lessons per week for a year and a half. Well, yeah, but that still does not solve the problem. Yeah, and there were some common trends if we look along the whole spectrum of the participants. Yeah, mostly everyone agrees on the negative number of an insufficient number of lessons for biology. There is also consensus on the need to be more flexible and make the program more adaptable. The differences which we observed that younger and less experienced teachers somehow more focus on the outcomes and their relation to standards. Older and more experienced teachers more look at the gap in the content, because they have this more experience, like how or what content in biology has been taught over the years, and now with, all right, the world is becoming more digitalized, but there are some biology issues that are the very foundation that learners should know. And for example, if we just look at two topics, one of them being environment and evolutionary change in organisms, and the other cell reproduction. So if biology is not taught in grade 10 and only in grade 11, the teachers have little basis to rely on, because students have forgotten most of the things, especially if, according to Scuola 2030, in senior primary school, they have a subject, natural science, where everything is taught in a combined way, but they do not teach about the diversity of animals and plants. So you cannot teach ecology if you have not understood that fundamental issue. Even more problems with cell reproduction. So if you do not understand the structure of the cell, how can you talk about the DNA and all the other related things? Besides, speaking about artificial insemination, teachers lack materials in, let's say, student-friendly language that explain in an understandable way what it all means. And also there is no reference to latest scientific developments. And in this field there are lots. This is an area which changes very, very fast. And so, I hope we have made you interested in the topic, and there is our article in the publication Vincentas had in our folder, so you'll be able to read it. So what was done, so we as a group, working together with the biology association, teacher association, we changed the number of lessons, the sequence of topics, how they appears, so to make it more logical and student-friendly, and also changing the number of topics which undergo under each of the topics. Yeah. So with the arrows, you see how we have changed the topics. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and then all three conclusions are important, and they deal with the mapping outcomes that determine the importance to see the alignment. Then it's very important to find out the teacher's opinion, because they are the people who put everything into practice. And thirdly, the teacher's insights were taken into account to develop this Biology 1 methodological toolkit, which provides lots of worksheets, printed and digital, additional materials, short quizzes, tests, but you can read about all this in our article. Thank you very much for your attention.
about this new project in the biology, methodological material development. So you see at our uni we have this digital transformation. We are developing curriculum at school for the biology, for science and also for physics. And in parallel with Daiga we are looking at more ways to enhance physics education at school with the means of blended learning and with the means of online videos, and she's going to present you about this project and maybe our first pilot results.
Yeah.
So please,
And
Daiga,
Jelena is the leader of this project. And I am not teacher of physics, so no questions about physics.
That's good.
Yeah. And
After listening physics,
they asked me to come and help with pedagogy. And the physics, too, is the advanced level of physics, so a very small amount of students choose this course. It's after Physics 1, which is overall the main topics of physics. And then in this last school year they have 6 lessons per week for physics. So you don't have a lot of subjects, but have some with a lot of lessons. And the problem was the same as we heard in previous presentation, that there are no materials at all. There are quite a lot of new topics which was not taught previously, and how to support these different student needs. And then we found in the project that there are quite a lot of freely available materials which with good explanations we can integrate in these lessons. And one of them was Khan Academy, and we started collaboration with Khan Academy to choose these appropriate videos and make translations and think how to offer them and integrate usefully and meaningfully in lessons. And so the way we decided to try is blended learning, as they are adults, almost 18 years old, and quite self-regulated, and our expectations are that it will work. And therefore we are moving forward in some steps. The first is adapt these Khan Academy videos for Physics 2. It means translation with AI, and then look on this vocabulary, because there are some terms which are in English, but in Latvian they are quite different or not used. And so we are making dictionary, and then put this dictionary again in AI and translating these videos. And then this translation will be available on YouTube on all these Khan Academy videos, so pupils can look them independently, or if teacher says you must watch this video, they will be there. And then we decided to choose some teachers which will test these blended learning strategies, and then share these results with others, and make something like handbook how to implement it in lessons. But to understand where to start, we made just a short questionnaire, and members of Physics Teacher Association fill in this questionnaire. And what was the results? How often they use blended learning? We can see that 17% never used it, and it was first time when they heard about it in the seminar. But 70% use it every month, quite often. And then we asked about models. We just offered some most common models, and you can see that project-based learning is the most popular, and no, most popular is rotation model and then project-based learning, but no, I didn't. Sorry. We can look from this side. Often, very often, and this is really an almost never. So yeah, and we can see that this flipped classroom is the most popular, and it means that watch this video at home, and then we will do something with that. And therefore we decided to start our research with this model to understand how they are realizing this model. And then we asked about materials which they offer to the students, and mostly they are materials from paid learning management systems. We have two such systems in Latvia, and they are quite expensive, and schools are paying a lot of money. So just take these tasks and materials and give students. And virtual simulations. But this free online courses, which is Khan Academy and others, is not popular. So, and then we asked about advantages and disadvantages, and the most interesting findings was that why teachers don't like blended learning, because some students spend their time not to learn, but just playing games or searching for more interesting things. And also that additional teacher preparation is needed, and it was hard for us to understand what is this additional part if you prepare lessons anyway. So and we wanted to just fix how much time you spend on watching videos and thinking, so to tell to other teachers. So it exactly takes this or that amount, and it is the same as you use in everyday preparation, or maybe it is more or less time. And then when we looked on correlations, then teachers from gymnasiums was more positive in all aspects, and they said that yes, blended learning helps to students, and they become more self-regulated, but from these usual high schools and from vocational schools, they was quite pessimistic about blended learning. So, and then we asked for 3 teachers voluntary to start implement blended learning in these Physics 2 lessons using Khan Academy videos, and so far we make one round with one subtopic for 10 lessons, and these conclusions were that they are not watching videos at home. No one is making homeworks. They are coming on classroom, maybe in this break before lesson they are looking on this video, but not with this engaging in deep learning. So, and what was the reaction of these teachers? They started to watch this video in the lesson, and with this activity they stopped blended learning. So then we discussed all these problems, how we can manage this, how to let the students understand why it's important, and maybe some repressive methods with grading or so on. So they start to watch this video and prepare to lesson. And now we will have a second round. Teachers are preparing all the same subtopic, and during summertime, and the next round will be on September. And then we will take pre-test and post-test, and also ask for teachers which are not using blended learning to make the same pre-test and post-test, and just look other differences in the results. So because all lecturers say yes, blended learning will save the world, and how it is in our cultural context, and does it really work? Maybe it is the same results, maybe traditional teaching will be better, maybe blended learning will be better. And then we will have some more rounds based on these results, so to develop this methodology, how implement blended learning in physics